Mic check 1 2 1 2. Shit. I need a fucking Kleenex.
Killbox Studios. Yeah. What up? Pressure. Representing my homie, DJ Miss Hoodie. What's good? The girl get a grind on, man, for real. Check it. Queens in the building. Stand up. Tell me, have you seen her? Who stepped in the arena? Miss Hoodie serving, he crossed the net like Serena. And everything she play is great, so let the haters hate. Virus to their database, scrambling they data rate. Plus I got your back like scoliosis. Pressure got the antidote, be careful of the dosage. The girl is everywhere, yup, every known geography. Plus she get a swerve on with zero toxicology. The hottest beat, Hoodie and Pressure in the building. Of course the competition's mad, we meant to hurt your feelings. We see through all the politics, the truth is so revealing. We underground as hell, you hear us banging on the ceiling. Queens representative, Arizona resident, call up a detective. Truth is in the evidence and evidently present is a force that makes you hesitant. Miss Hoodie's red light is on, destruction is imminent.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Goodbye.
What up? It's your girl, Miss DJ Hoodie, getting at you guys on Tuesday, January 15th, 2019 at 9:16 p.m. Yeah, man, I'm so late. It's so Tuesday, not a Monday. And if you guys didn't know, I record the Why Run podcast every Mondays and Thursdays. So yeah, I'm a day behind, but I'm trying to get back up on schedule. So here we go. I'm your girl and I'm your host, Miss DJ Hoodie. And I was sick, so today I actually feel a whole lot better. Yesterday and the day before was so horrible, but we're going to go into that in just a few minutes. But if you guys are new here to the show, you are listening to the Why Run podcast here at thekivas.fm. And here I'm very universal. I talk about dating, relationships, friendships, enemies, family, human behavior, all of this in the spiritual sense. So yeah, follow me at MSDJHOODIE on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, all on social media. I'm there. What's up? And you can catch me living the Hopi life as a Native American artist. So now that I got that out of the way, let's get on with the podcast. All right, so this podcast, man. Okay, first of all, this past weekend, my man and we attended a event. And it was our first one together. It was great because, of course, we were together and we have this business and we just really wanted to get everything out there. Everything that we accomplished and completed. We wanted to meet new people, meet new customers, things like that. Of course, you're running a business. But, man. And I know you guys are curious, and let me just come out and say it. It was one of the worst. One of the worst. I've been in this business for so long. Longer than he has. He's in it with me, and that's kind of something that I'm feeling quite guilty about because, oh my gosh, how do I say this to even you guys, man? Like, it's just one of those things that I wish a lot of you all and a lot of people out there will get when I say in that spiritual sense. A lot of people don't think that spiritual has anything to do with anything or everything, but it actually does. And that shit can manifest, especially if it's negative energy and negative feelings such as jealousy and that pettiness and that need for revenge and the negative questions as to why are they doing that, or why do they feel they need to do this, or if all of that is coming from their mouth, okay, like it's out there once it goes out, and those things can actually do things to you to make you feel sick, or to make you lash out, or to make you do things that are not you. That is so hard to explain, but it happens. And I want you and everyone else to think about it. Pay attention to it, to listen to your gut. If something don't feel right or sound right, or it's more than just blowing it off like you guys are just mad, like it's more than that. And that's what happened to me this past weekend. I'm going to start off by saying that it was a good weekend, because I'm going to speak on the positive things. Of course, I was there with my man, so he is my muscle. And when I speak, okay, like right now, I'm going to speak on my man. This is not bragging. This is not like, oh, I have the best man, like, flexing our relationship. It's not that. Listen to me. I am not that type of person, because that's what people may want to hear, because I keep that part of my life kind of private. It's just for he and I. But I'm going to recognize him, because that is a type of relationship that you and everyone should want and want to be with. Okay? Because that is a whole nother podcast within itself. But this is not flexing in any way. I'm going to say that right now. But my man over the past weekend has been my rock. You don't know how many years I have done events by myself with absolutely no help, unless I pulled a stranger to help me. And setting up the tent is a job. It's a very stressful job, especially if you're running late. Especially like I was sick for the last couple days. So my strength wasn't all the way up, and it's just a bunch of worry. So getting the tent up, sealing it up and just setting up the furniture, things like that. It's so hard when you've done it pretty much all your life by yourself. Having him there to help me and assist me was just the best. Like, I was just staring at him like, oh my God, I love you. Like, it was just, I never really had that. Like, I never really had that kind of help. And he's so strong, and I just love him so much for, like, when I'm about to carry something, like, he takes it out of my hand and he's like, you know, you're not supposed to be carrying that. Like, you know, ask me to do it, and it's what I'm here for. But I explained to him that I don't want to be like one of those females that is like today. Like, I hurt myself peeling an orange, and he looks at me like, you should have asked me to peel it. And I told him again the same thing that I told him over there at the event, that I don't want to be like one of those females that can't even peel an orange. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh my God, like, here, peel this for me. Like, I didn't want to be that way, so I'm going to peel my own orange, but in the process I hurt myself. But the point is that he's such a gentleman to just take things out of my hand and give me that look like, you know, I got it, you know, like, you know, I got you. So he says that to me all the time, and that shows me that he cares. So for him to help me with this event was just everything to me, because like I said, I've always done it by myself. Okay, moving on. So all weekend, let me tell you, and I told him this too, I was like, I didn't know, or I didn't think that you were going to be this friendly, you know, because I've always kind of known that he wasn't like a people person, just like how we are at the mall or how we are at the grocery store. And like, it just seems like people just, you know, I know people are rude, like I know that, but he just gets so irritated by people. So with that in mind, I was worried that he was going to be the same way with customers. He proved me wrong this past weekend, and I was just so surprised and so grateful. And he told me he was just really motivated to do this with me, and he got the hang of it and everything. So that was the good part about it. That was, you know, we were doing something together. He said that he wanted to be in this business with me, and boy, did he prove it to me. So that's the good part of the weekend. Not only that, it was beautiful. The weather was nice. It was kind of chilly, but the sun came out, and it was just nice. Now, I'm going to go into the bad part that kind of kicked off the stress, the sickness, the physical sickness. Okay. I have this thing where I can tell of a bad person, like just how a person looks and says and moves, and you know, like you can, I mean, if you guys are that observant, hopefully you guys are, because if you're not, then you are not #woke. You are not. If you cannot see this in other people, you are not as woke as you may think and claim you are. Straight up, son. It's so... Anyway, let me just go on. There was just certain people that came to our booth, and they were just doing really odd things, saying odd things, saying mean things, and just trying to make us feel humiliated, leaving us cut off. You know, it's just that feeling, and we both sensed it. Like, it's not just me. And since I've been doing this for years, for me, it's kind of like, I know what you're doing, but I've been going through this all my life. And it eventually got to the point where spiritually I've been protecting myself for the past couple years. And it's very necessary. I don't care if I am on the nose or if I am wrong. I do not care. I am going to protect myself. I'm going to protect my booth. I'm going to protect all my hard work. And I'm going to protect the people that are with me and that love me and that support me. I'm going to protect everything. Okay? Spiritually, I'm going to protect everything. Now, like I said, bad people, if they are so angry, if they are so jealous, or if they're so, they hang on to things and they're mad at how good you can do certain things. Like, we were there for my business, for my art. So therefore, because my art is very nice and very well made, and they're going to be mad at that. Because why? It could be that it's expensive. It can be because it's so well made. It could be because it looks so perfect. It could be because the customer and audience feedback is like, wow, your stuff is so amazing. I want to put in an order. See, like, all of these things I feel and I have seen people get mad over. So what are they going to do? Just be mad? Sure, they can be mad, but what's gonna come out of it? That's what people, I think, they just leave it. I've met people that say, oh, I love when people are jealous. I love when people are, they can't have what I have. It's that flexing, and that's what blows me about people, is like they like to flex and brag and show off these lavish things. They like to show off their relationships. They like to show off their money. They like to show off what their money has bought them. They like to show off these lavish vacations, and they love that hate, and they love that love and support that they get. So they love it either way. But of course, that's over social media. That's over a photograph. It's over just a little 10-second video. But we don't see what they choose not to show us. We don't see that part. And I'm sure if we did, it would just be too real. And people are not about realness. They're not. But through a photo, through a 10-second video, we only know what they show us. That's all we know. And let me tell you, it's the same in my case. If you go onto my Facebook, if you go onto my Instagram and Snapchat, you're not going to see the bad stuff. I'm saying it here on a podcast. I chose this way because podcasts are meant for information a little bit more, a lot more in depth and a lot more detail. It's more personal. It's more one-on-one. And I'm telling you guys now that if I would show you guys, you would be feeling the sickness. I believe in that. And why would I want to pass that sickness on to you guys? I don't want to do that. And let me tell you, doing this podcast, I will not allow it to hurt you guys, because I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to speak on what happened. I got physically ill because talking to those bad people, you know, you're in public. They're in your booth. They're looking at your art. They're touching your art. They're trying to take your art from your hands with a handshake. They're trying to break your art by touching it. In the snobby attitudes that they give you, and the laughing in your face when they see a little mistake or what they think is a mistake. It's like they want to hurt you and to belittle you and embarrass you and humiliate and disrespect you. People will do that. And that's what they did. Because let me tell you, after the show, we packed up, and I am so surprised that I even made it through that. But once I got in the truck and drove off, I was hit. I was hit. More coming up after this. And we are back. I just had to throw on the song by Salt and Pepper just to bring myself back up in the mood to talk about this bullshit. But yeah, the song is called None of Your Business by Salt and Pepper, one of my favorite jams. And it's really what it is. None of your business, you know? Okay, so let me finish up this bullshit. So I got in the truck, and when we drove down the road, I was thinking that maybe I needed sugar. If you guys do not know, I'm diabetic. I believe I was born a diabetic, even though they told me you cannot be diabetic at birth. You have to be diagnosed with it. Funny for you guys to say that when I was going through all what I'm going through now, when I was like in 3rd grade. Like, I didn't have a choice. You know what I'm saying? But whole different segment or podcast. But I was thinking it was just that. I was thinking that I just needed sugar because I'm doing all this running around talking to customers and tearing down the tent and loading the truck and everything. So with all this moving around, I'm thinking like, okay, like probably need sugar. There wasn't a corner store any place but a Target. So I pulled in and I was getting so sick. Like, I was getting like motion sickness, and I started freaking out. And I told my boyfriend to go inside of Target, get a Coke and some Advil. And that's exactly what he did. And while he was doing that, I was in the truck and I called my parents. And I was telling them, like, I feel sick, I'm scared, you know, I feel like I'm gonna throw up, I feel like I'm gonna pass out, I feel so lightheaded, I feel like I can't even like turn a full circle without feeling so sick. And spiritually, I asked my mom, for her strength spiritually. Even though we are like an hour away from each other, I asked my mom, I said, Mom, can you give me some strength? And I always ask for it. If I was a bad person, I would have just taken it. I would have just taken all of her strength. I would have just not even asked for it. And see, that's spiritual. You know, that's something that people do without asking. You know, you ever hang out with somebody and they're just laying all their problems on you, and, you know, it's like, where do they even find the energy to complain and bitch about their own problems and not even think about how you may be feeling or how you may be looking at them, or feeling no shame or guilt, but they're just laying their problems on you constantly. And then when they leave and go about their own, go back to their shitty lives, they're going back to it. They're going back to their shitty lives with all of your energy, just by laying their problems on you. So when they leave, are you feeling tired? Do you have a headache? Do you feel like vomiting? Do you feel not yourself? Do you feel angry? Are you starting to reevaluate your life because of what they're going through? See, like that what they did was a swap. That's what they did. That's a whole nother podcast too, you guys. But I'm just telling you guys right now that I am not about that shit. You know, like before I started this podcast, before I do any podcast, like I never want anyone to leave with my problems. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm telling you guys all of this so you guys can dodge this shit. When you see it or feel it coming towards you or at you, I'm letting you know what it looks like and what it feels like. And if you're feeling all of these things, it is not right. They are not your friends. They are not looking out for anyone but themselves. Okay. So back to me and my mom. I asked her over the phone, Mom, can I please have some of your strength so I can get home? She said, yes, I'm there with you. I'm holding you. And Silla, take my strength. So as I'm doing this, I always, like, when I'm about to take some of her strength, I always protect her too at the same time, because me and my mom, we are so synced spiritually that sometimes the bad can leak onto her, and then she'll start feeling my shitty symptoms. So when I was doing that, I was kind of protecting her at the same time. And by that time, my man was like, okay, I'm coming out of the store. And I was like, okay, Mom, I think I'll be okay. I'll call you if anything. And she said, okay. We hung up. I picked him up and he gave me the Advil, and I drank a little bit of soda, and I felt like I was feeling fine. But when I drove out of the lot, and right when I turned the corner, I got motion sickness again. And I was like, babe, I do not feel good. I'm scared. And I was scared. And he didn't know what to do. And he's from New York, so he doesn't know how to drive. I know that's crazy, but it's crazy to me too when he first told me that. But so we pulled into the lot where there was like a Denny's, a Wendy's, and a corner store. To keep this short, because it was like 2 hours that pretty much went by of feeling sick. Like, I was just in and out of the truck. I was like, oh my God, babe, I'm going to throw up. And I was like circling the truck. And the reason why I was circling the truck was because there was like people coming in and out of the restaurant, getting to their vehicles. And I just wanted privacy. But, you know, I'm in the lot. I didn't want to go inside the restaurant to throw up because smelling food, it would just make me more sick. But at the same time, like, I needed to throw up, but I was avoiding it at the same time. Like, it was so weird, but I knew I had to. And he was like, oh, let me press on your stomach. So he was doing that, and he was like moving my stomach around, and I was like feeling like I really, really wanted to, and I needed to, but it just wouldn't come up. Like, I was just gagging. And then it was so bad that I tried to stick my finger down my throat to make myself throw up. That didn't work either. I finally had the courage to go into Wendy's, and I needed to use the restroom. So I went to the restroom, but the longer I was in there, the more I was smelling bacon and like things that were like just making me so sick. So I went to the restroom, came out, and I was like, I can't be in there. I can't be in there. And I was like, I'm going to throw up. And he's like, well, throw up. And I was scaring him because he didn't know what to do with me. And he was like, I'm going to call the ambulance. And for me, I wasn't that, like, if I feel like I need the ambulance, I will tell you. But right now, they're not going to think it's that severe. So I told him not to, that all I needed to do was throw up. And at that time, I was not sure, like, I was just so sick. And I called my parents again, and I was like, where are you guys at? And they're like, oh, we're in Phoenix now. And they were like, oh, we'll be there in like 20 minutes. So I was like, okay. And then I was sitting in the car, and my man was just going into Denny's and asking for like a cracker, just a plain cracker, just so I can have it with the medicine that I just took, with the Advil, because all those hours at the event, I wasn't really eating. And here I took medicine with pretty much on an empty stomach. So he was like, you got to have something with the Advil. So I ate one cracker. I still was not feeling good. So he went to the corner store, got me ginger ale. I was drinking that, and I was like burping. So like, I'm like, okay, I'm starting to feel a little bit better. My parents came, and they were saying, oh, I'll go home with one car. We'll leave the other car here. And I didn't want to do that. Like, I just did not want to do that. And, me and my parents were talking, and we just started thinking of all the bad people that were at the event that may have had something to do or a lot to do with how I was feeling. Like, we're strong believers in that. And, a lot of people that I would say that are spiritual, because I've had people in a spiritual community tell me that if you believe strongly in something, it's going to happen. So for us, or what I'm trying to say and explain, is that of course we don't want to believe that someone would do something to us, but we also know, and we're not going to dismiss it, is that there are people out there that do want to cause hurt. And those are the people that we have to single out spiritually and block them. Okay, I know this is probably crazy to you guys, but it does happen. It does happen. Moving on. I was fine enough to drive, but right when we were getting onto the highway, like, something started to go on with my foot, with my leg. It felt like my whole leg was going to stiffen up. And I called my parents right away, and I told my man, I said, something's going on with my leg. And he's like, what? And I said, it feels like it's just getting really, really stiff, and I'm afraid to move it. I'm afraid to, and then it'll just like cramp up, and then I don't know how bad the pain's gonna be, you know what I'm saying? So I called my parents, and they were like, okay, just get off the next exit already. Got off the exit. I kind of walked it off, and, we just, said our prayer and everything. And then I was like, okay, I think I'm fine. Get back on the highway, and just all the way from there, we were probably like 75% home. And within that 75%, I was holding my babe's hand, and I was just like rocking myself back and forth, and I'm driving this whole time. I'm rocking myself, and I'm just like, I'm shivering, I'm shaking, and like I have a headache, I'm dizzy, I'm just all of these things all at once. And in my head I was like saying a prayer and things like that. And then when I said the prayer, like I was fine. And then when I started to calm down, like I was a bit calm, but then I started to feel sleepy. And mind you, we're waking up at like 4 a.m. to make this event. And at that time, it was like, I want to say 8 o'clock. Like, and I was just like already falling asleep. And that feeling, that uncomfortable feeling of like wanting to throw up, feeling motion sickness. And I'm just like, like I'm making that noise, and I'm just like, trying not to panic, trying, to keep myself okay. And my man, he was worried. He was so worried, and I love him so much for that. But I did not mean to scare him. Like, I didn't want to, like, go off the rail. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to be strong for the both of us, because I'm driving and I don't want to fucking get in a wreck or something. And 75%, I was like, oh my God, I need to throw up. And then, so we just, I cut everybody off on the highway. Got off, and this was the crazy, stupid part. I got off the freeway on a road that was very curvy and swervy. And here I'm already feeling this motion sickness. And, my parents were like right behind us. So wherever we went, they were following us. And oh, I could not take it. I was like, I gotta throw up. And like, there was, and again, a weird road, and like the nearest like corner store was like, I don't know how many blocks down. Like, it was such a dumb ass move. And I just pulled off to like this residential area, and I got out, my man got out, and I was like, I was so scared. Like, I was so scared. And my dad came out, and as soon, my dad parked right behind us, and as soon as he reached me, I just let it go. Like, oh my God, it was just coming out so disgustingly watery, and like I could taste the Advil medicine. Like, I guess my stomach too wasn't taking it, and I was throwing up just the little foods that I've been eating throughout the day. It just all didn't digest. Like, it was just all like in my stomach, and oh my God, I was throwing up so much. And I think I even threw up on my babe's shoes. Like, I don't even know. Like, it was just coming out. And my man was trying to be comforting, and he was all trying to like pat my back and like, rub my back. And I'm like, no, stop. Like, don't touch me. But I didn't know if I said it like in a mean way, but I was just like, don't move me. Like, I'm already like sick, and like I was already like throwing up, and I was crying. I just got over a sickness. So, mucus was coming out of my nose, and, I just felt like a little baby, like I was just, my face was just a mess. And my dad was just so sweet. Like, he had, he was like wiping my face with napkins, and I was like crying, and I was like in my dad's arms crying, and my babe was just there with water and more napkins, and he was holding my glasses, and he was holding my hair back, and it all came out, and I was like so happy about it. But just glad that it came out. I don't want to say happy, but I was glad that everything came out. And this is another thing, you guys, too. I've said this many times, and I will continue to say it until it sticks, until you guys see what the fuck I am talking about. Okay? this is kind of embarrassing for me, but right now I really don't give a shit. Thanks to Salt and Pepper. But I kind of soiled myself when I was throwing up. And when I got back in the car, I was like, oh, fuck. Like, and I told my babe, like, I told my man, and I was embarrassed telling him, but I was such in a fucked up state. He should understand. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was that strong about, you know what? If he makes fun of me, he's not the one for me. If he is like ill or like, oh my God, get away from me, like I'm never having sex with you again, you know, like if he gave that kind of reaction, I would know that he is not the one for me. Okay. I sat in a car and I was like crying, and he's like, oh baby, don't cry. And I'm like, I'm so embarrassed. I don't want you to see me this way. And he was like, no, it's fine. You know, I'm glad you got it out. And I was like, not that. And he's like, what? And, you know, I'm crying telling him this. And I'm like, I think I peed myself. And he was like, it's okay. Like right away, like he was like, it's okay, babe. We'll just get you home, and, you know, you just take off all your clothes, and, you know, I'll clean you up, and you can get in a shower, and don't worry about it. Well, I'll take care of it. And I just bawled. Like I just was crying so bad. And I was like, I need to go to the bathroom still. Like, you know, like, and when you're in that state, like once you get a little bit out, you know what I'm saying? Like you need to go. So I was like trying to hold it, and I was just so miserable. I was so sore. I was like, my head was, you know, my head was a lot better, but like my stomach was like very achy. Like I was like kind of shaking still a little bit. We went to the McDonald's, and my mom went in with me, and we came back out, and my mom was like, yeah, she kind of soiled herself a little bit. So long story short, we got into our vehicles, and we got home, and he did everything he said he was going to do. And let me tell you guys that find somebody that will wipe your ass when you can't. I will leave you with that thought. I will leave you with that, because it's so true. If you guys are together into your old age, it will come. You are going to have to go through this with someone that you trust, and someone that truly loves you. If they truly love you, they will do this for you when you are unable to take care of yourself. And he has shown that to me. He proved that to me. And I love him so much for it. I'm going to close this podcast with this. My folks and I, we talked about it, and it's very possible that all this was caused by someone or by all that tried to belittle my work. They tried to take my art from my hands through a handshake, trying to find a flaw to make me feel bad about my artwork, that I'm not good enough, will never be good enough. All this fake hellos and handshakes, and oh, I'm so glad you guys made it, and you know, all of that, just unreal, just unkind, being unkind about just seeing us there and seeing our art, and just being that way. You know, it manifested into me. And I'm going to say this, and I mean it. It's better me that it happened to me instead of it happening to my man, and that it didn't happen to my parents. Because when it's somebody else, and if it's not you, at least you know what's going on. Because when it's somebody else, it kills me not knowing what is wrong with them. At that time, I didn't know what was wrong with me, but still, I was even saying then to them, I'm glad it was me and not you guys. They feel so hurt that I even have to say that, but I meant it. I mean it still. And I told my dad, because my dad's the one that taught me all of what I know. So I told him that, you know what? I'm better now. It's all over. I'm okay. But now it's their turn to go through it. And I hope it hurts them a whole lot more than what it was done to me. Let that shit linger in them, because it got me. It got me. That's being woke. That's what I'm saying. People like to claim that they're woke, but if you do not feel any physical shit, you are not woke enough. You're just not. It's more than being aware. It's about being in your feelings. And no one of today wants to be caught in their feelings. So therefore, they are not woke. That's why I bring you to the Why Run podcast. Why run? You guys get it now? I am your host, Miss DJ Hoodie, aka Adrielle Coinva, and you can follow me on all social media at Miss DJ Hoodie, MSDJHOODIE, on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat. And if you guys like today's episode, don't forget to add, rate, comment, subscribe, and share. Until my next podcast, I love you all. Stay #woke. Why run? Peace.